Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bright Founders Talk at Temi. Temi is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast, where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. Each week, we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. I'm your host, Barry Hales. Now today, we're lucky enough to have an amazing guest joining us, Senska, who is the founder and chief executive officer at Womenful Voice. Hello Senska, how are you doing today?
Hi, Barry. Thanks for having me. Feeling good, excited to be here.
Good, it's our pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us. It's greatly appreciated. Now, I would like to begin by talking about who you truly are on a personal level and the amazing journey that you've had. But before we do that, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and the company you work at?
Yes, definitely. So my name is Senska. I am a Jean also. We are so many Jean in Haiti. So I always say that. So I am the founder and chief executive officer of Womenful Voice, an organization that focuses on helping women and girls in Haiti, helping them getting the mindset of getting into the industries, working with men, like every man do. So having that mindset is really what we are trying to create, and also don't be scared to go for what they need and, voice their opinion and voice what they need, that they can get it.
Oh, amazing, sounds exciting. Now, this might seem like a bit of a tangent, but if you could describe yourself in 3 words, which words would you choose and why?
I would say strong, resilient, and very adventurous. That's how I started Womenful Voice, really.
Have you always been that way?
Good question. That's a good one. I think like growing up as a woman, especially, I think like many women growing up in poor countries or anywhere in the world, they always tell you don't go for it. Be risk adverse. They always tell us, right? No, I wasn't that way, but as I am getting into this life and realizing the more you're scared, the less you do, I have gotten myself into like, go for it, don't be scared of the problems and get started.
So where was it that you grew up?
I grew up in Haiti, born and raised.
Haiti.
Yeah, I left Haiti when I was
Born and raised.
18 years old. Yes, born and raised.
And
Yes.
have you travelled abroad or have you always stayed in Haiti?
So, yeah, I do travel. I love traveling. I think this is part of why I have changed my mind of like, go for it, do. As you go in traveling and visiting different cultures, you've realized that there are things in your culture they tell you don't do well, in the other one, it's acceptable, right? So you're starting to realize it's society that are teaching you, be scared, don't do, and be careful, right? So I have, after I left Haiti, lived in Costa Rica for 4 years. After Costa Rica, that's where I got my engineering degree in agriculture. After leaving Costa Rica, moved to the US, worked here for a while. Then, throughout that, that's where I traveled. I think by now I've visited around like 14 to 15 countries, and that's how, you get that mindset of like the world is way bigger than that, and you have one life.
So you're a bit of a globetrotter,
Yeah.
going from place to place. Are there any highlights from your travels where you've learned something really new and exciting that you thought, oh, I'm going to take that and develop myself with it?
So many. Being in the US especially, because at time there are things in every country has bad things. We call them bad, but they're not really bad as you're living in that place, right? Because it's like that's the normal. And as I come in the US, I've realized how women here, they just take their power. Like, I'm one as everyone else, right? So I've learned to just like adapt this into my life and just be like, I'm one as everyone else. It makes sense, right? So that's one of the things I think traveling has like brought in my mindset and just like see the world bigger than that.
And through your travels, has there been anything that's made you think, oh, this is really great and unique about Haiti that I haven't found anywhere else?
I think the food.
Are you a food lover, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we talk about that way, every culture, their food is so different. Yes, there will be similarity, but they will be unique in their own way. And the other thing is also how we see culture. Some people it's some cultures, they see their culture as like it's one way. Some of them just be like, we have to improve. And it's really the differences in the mindset, really. And being honest, every human being is unique. So as you're meeting people, it's not really being the culture, but like where they've been to be the person that they are.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So, bit of an odd question. Are you a morning person or an evening person?
So there is two part of me then. So I wake up very early because I need to start my day early. If I don't start it early, I'm screwed, right? That's the easiest way I can say it. So time management is big. I start my day at 6 a.m. and my routine is normally get myself to where it needs to be when it's come to mental. Evening at times, yes, if I need to do something, if I get very excited about a problem, like if you find a problem in this, my mind just go and I get very excited, and that will get me to be an evening person. I work very late, like 2, 3 a.m.
Are you guilty of burning the candle at both ends?
I am guilty of burning myself out often. Definitely.
And how do you avoid doing that? How do you avoid taking those steps?
Waking up early. I've said I think it's the main thing for me. Waking up early, knowing what your time look like. Time management is so important. As we are getting into the professional world, I'm 30 years old, but like while I'm joining the workforce, you don't understand what are the skills that you need to have, what are the aptitude, we say in French, I would say attitude, that you need to have, having the right mindset, and that problem will exist, and then you just have to tackle them and be moving forward. Obviously, there are times where you sit in the problem, and that's when you figure out the problem. Now, it's like if you sit in it for forever, that's going to be a problem for forever. Now, after you sit in it, you learn from it, then you get excited to tackle it, because now probably you'll figure out different type of solutions that you can do to tackle that problems. So time management is very, very important.
Wow, amazing, perfect. So if we move back to Women Full Voice now, what inspired you to start Women Full Voice? Could you just share the story behind its inception a little bit?
Let me tell you. So I would say like my journey at so being in the agricultural world, I am very passionate about like food processing. I'll say this, okay? Now, like that's where I saw myself going, because I am an engineer, so I'm gonna go into like food processing, and I love that and blah blah blah. Now I met this woman, her name is Esther Nakajego, and she was working as a woman. She was the Women and Girls of Uganda. So when I met her, she turned into my best friend, and I was able to have a look through of like what being a woman and being a black woman and being a woman, black woman, coming from a poor country, being an immigrant also at the same time, right? Or a refugee, right? Any way we want to say it. So I have learned through her words of like impacting is very important, supporting, using our privileges to helping people coming out of where they are, providing them the resources. That's a very important part of me, especially, right? That's fulfilled me as a person. So that's where Women Full Voice started, and then I just went back home, right? And I started that. My journey going into Women Full Voice wasn't easy. I really, when she passed away, I would say that she passed away when she was very young, and she was way younger than me, and I was just like, she's so young and she's done so much, what can I do, right? And like, instead of sitting in the grief, which me, I believe in solution, I use that grief into turning this organization in what it is today. In 2 years old, we turned into like 30. We've had around like 40 people, over even 60, that has volunteered with us in 2 years. We've impacted over 800 women, planted around like 2,000 trees. We've done so many things in the past 2 years, because focusing on the problem is good. Now it's like focusing on resolving the problem is even better.
Wow, it
So
sounds like
that's
you're really
where like
making
my inspiration for Women Full Voice came from.
sounds like you're really making a difference in the world. What
Thank
could
you.
people who are watching this and thinking, do you know what, I'd like to make a difference, what can they do to help you make that difference?
So for me, there is beyond that, right? You can help me make the difference, or you can make it yourself, right? There's so many ways that we can do. You can decide, you say, I want to donate to Women Full Voice. I want to volunteer my time as a professional marketing manager, for example. I want to just do that way and support. Or you can also say like, I am learning so much from this. Let me looking at what Women for Voice has done, right? And let me take it back home and support someone back home. And not even someone back home. It can be someone that's living right next to you that is in need. And just like, how can you do that? And that's a way of like doing something in life. And, there are times where we say, building an organization, building a business, it's when we do in life. Meanwhile, like we do so many in life just as a daily things. It's just like little things that we do daily.
So it sounds like you've had quite a few challenges through your life and through your journey. What is the most valuable lesson that you've learned along the way?
I have learned minorities have not been able to see opportunities or resources because we were not taught to see them, right? And that's why I'm so passionate to like, how do we show? Because if we go back into, let me touch a little into slavery, we learn to give and give and give, and we are giving, right? So as minorities, and that's what we learn to give, and we are not looking at opportunities and resources around us that we can build ourselves, right? So that's really where like I'm so passionate about like women, minorities. As an agriculture engineer, when I got into that field as a young girl, I was so young when I graduated, and I was managing older people. They were looking at me like, you don't even know what you're saying. Meanwhile, I have so many knowledge, I have so many ideas, I have so many visions and opinions that I wanted to give, but as you are a black little girl, or and I'm skinny, and people are looking at you this way, they don't see you that way. I mean, like, these inside of here is so much bigger, right? So it's really like getting into the minority part and touching on like who you are. Then you can help people to build on and help people be inspired to be themselves and going forward. I don't know if I respond to your question though.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect. Yes, you did a great job as usual. So, did you know that you were always destined for greatness?
Well, that I'll take it. I'll take it fully, right? No. Let me touch a little on my background as a Haitian person. My mom is always saying, like, when she was pregnant, she saw a person who came and say, I have to be called Senska. And she said when it was time for her to give birth, that same person came by reminding her that she has to call me Senska. And she said, she asked that person why, it's like Senska means light. So since I was little, that story obviously will be in your mind as you're growing up, being true or not. But as you are hearing this, you'll believe that you have to do great things. I don't know if I believed it to my core and being conscious of it, but for some reason my body probably internalized it, and now I'm doing great things for people and for the world, I would say, if it touched,
So you kind of are being a light, aren't you, with what you're doing through your work? So you're kind of living up to your name, as it were.
Yeah.
Are there any books, podcasts, or documentaries that have had a significant impact? Looks like you know the question. Go ahead, fire away.
Yes, I love this question so much because we are from a society. Well, we each have our own society, in a sense, I would say, little culture, right? And each of them are telling us what to do. And for me, what I've realized is therapy has been big healing for me. The second one, reading books. Oops, let me help you all out here.
Oh yes,
Right?
lovely,
I
perfect,
like
thank you.
self-care for black women. I stay focused on being, of like someone who gives a lot. You can't lose sight of that. And sometimes you don't have to give anymore and you're feeling drained, right? And you're feeling burned out. So those kind of things. I listen to Brené Brown again, a lot. She's incredible at telling you how to be vulnerable. That's for me, when this question was asked, like, how do we do that? I'm like, let's just let it flow. Let's be vulnerable. That's when we let people know what we learn in life, who we are, and how they can be inspired. If we are putting a front, people probably won't be able to relate. So for me, I listen a lot to different podcasts that help with personal development, being emotionally mature. It's so big into being the person you are today and knowing who you are, right? So those are the things I would tell people. Listen, read books that talk about like the core of a human being. Listen to podcasts like Brené Brown, right? That talk about like being vulnerable. It's not a bad thing. It's how you show people you care, you love, and you can be loved, right? So this kind of thing, listen to them while you're driving, while you're showering, anything. It's It's those kind of things I would tell people. Focus on personal development and you will get into your professional life and everything else.
Yeah, so it's probably that self-development and kind of self-therapy that's helped you get to where you are today. A bit of another odd question. I like odd questions, as you can tell. If you were to create like a tagline or a slogan for Women Full Voice in the style of like a movie poster, what would it say and what imagery would accompany it?
It would have a woman having a business, like that picture would be first. A woman having a business who doesn't believe she's a businesswoman. And my movie title would be a businesswoman who doesn't believe she's a businesswoman, right? So it's just like that's how we are as human beings, right? I as a person, people come to me, you're so inspiring. I'm just like, yeah, I can see it and I appreciate you because that's how you are boosting me and supporting me, right? By you saying that now what I want you to know is that I am a human being like you. There are times where I doubt myself and I don't even know what I'm doing and I'm questioning things. But there are also times where I'm like, I'm the dragon slaying the dragon, right? So those are the moments, right? So it's really like us human beings, we question a lot what we do and we don't really try to understand who we are at the core.
So it sounds like there's a lot of adaptability to what you're saying and changing to meet the situation. Is that something that you've innately had, or is that something that you've learned through your journey?
I would say growing up in Haiti, right? You grow up. I grew up thinking I was rich. Let me put it as clear as it can be. I thought I was as Jeff Bezos, so I can tell you. So you grew up with that thinking of like I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, and I have everything that I can have. Now, when you come in a country like United States, it makes you just be like, right? Then you realize how resilient and how easy life has to be. It's just the way you see life that makes life complicated or easy, right? So that's really is I don't think I was there were times where I would question like why me la la la, which happened to everyone, right? It's having that mindset where you just like stand up and pick yourself up and say I'm a human being and I'm here for a reason, and the reason why I'm here is because I've done this already and I've done that already and I'm gonna continue doing this.
Lovely. What's kind of like the biggest factor in your life, the thing that drives you the most, the thing that makes you get up in the morning and think, do you know what, today is going to be a great day?
Oh, gratitude. Gratitude. I'm so grateful for my life, so grateful for where I am, so grateful to see like as a Haitian woman, right, to see where I am today. I just wake up every day and be like, I'm gonna keep on doing because I can do. There are people who leave this earth way before they should have, and I am still here. There is a reason why I'm here, and I'm just grateful for every little thing that I have. Just having a roof, having a desk, having an office, being able to eat. Those are gratitude is what makes me wake up every day in my life, and I'm so excited about like everything. Being honest, also not only gratitude, the women full voice. I love what I do. I'm excited to come on my desk and start, right? So really, it's being passionate about what you do, and that will make you grateful probably.
We were talking very briefly before the session started, and it's kind of really, really obvious just how passionate and how much you enjoy it. It's very hard to not be inspired by the message that you deliver. So thank you for sharing that with us. I have really enjoyed learning more as I've done the research on you. Another question, can you share a surprising aspect about yourself that you've uncovered throughout the process of building Women Full Voice?
Ooh, good questions. This is so incredible. Your questions are great. For me, what I've realized in me is like how strong I am and how resilient I am. That's why you were asking those things. Like, what are the three things, right? I am so strong. There are times where like you're just like, one of the things I would say as I'm saying this, when you're bringing people on board and that's your vision, right? They're joining your board and they are helping you build and move forward with your vision and get where you need to get. There are times where you recruit the wrong person. Those things will happen. Now it's just like, what do you do from there? And if you have wrong board members, they can break you or make you. It's really break or make with those kind of people. So it's making sure that you stay in the right mindset, which I've realized, because there are times I would make a mistake as a normal human being and I'm being reprimanded for doing something wrong or being advised how to do it better and my ego kick in, right? So it's being strong, being resilient, and accepting that you need to adapt. Change needs to happen. When you have a strategic plan, it doesn't really go the way it needs to go. So you need to adapt. Things change, life change. Today it wasn't supposed to rain, but it rained. What do we do now? That wasn't in the plan. That's when you need risk management. You may not even put it in risk management, but still you need to be resilient and be able to adapt. And that's how you will be able to move forward. When it's come to problem, exactly. Get excited when you find problems because that make it fun.
In addition to all the other talents that you possess, being psychic is another one, because I was just about to ask you that question. So you kind of touched on it a little bit there. But could you just tell us a bit about the dynamics within your team and how you navigate the challenges of working together for a common goal?
Oh, wow. So I will touch a little on the board. I work a lot with my board. I talk to them. I tell them what I need. There are times where like they're expecting stuff from me that I don't deliver, right? Things like this happen. And what do? You present yourself and saying, I've not done it because the time has been very tough. This is my plan to get it done for the next board meeting, right? Or you join the staff. The staff was expecting something from the board to be ready for it, but the board wasn't ready, right? We need to adjust. The board was adjusting. I bring it to the staff and just explain everything, right? So I'm working with 2 different staff, well, 3, board advisory, board of directors, and my staff. My staff are volunteers, so they are really my boss, right? I have employees also, right? Now, like my volunteer, the ones who are those staff, they are really like, we need this from you. We need this from you. I also tell them what I need from them to get to the vision, right? Because I'm the visionary. But they also needs from me, right? So those are very important for you to okay, this is a dynamic where I'm giving them and they are giving me. I'm an expert in everything inside the organization, but we have experts for each thing. I have an expert for marketing. I'm not the expert. I need to allow them to have their voice. That's where the dynamic comes in. Allow them to tell you what they think, why they see how it has to go, right? There are times where you don't listen or you understand it the wrong way and you don't deliver. Again, right? Those kind of things, we need to be aware of them. I deliver, that's how the organization is moving so fast, but I notice when I don't. So don't forget when you don't deliver. So that's very important, and that's how your staff will come with you and get you to deliver on time or help you adjust to deliver even better, right? So those people don't talk about like the tasks that we don't deliver, how they affect the one that we even deliver, right? And the board of directors, those are the ones who strengthen you. They give you ideas, they give you opinions, they help you like move forward. And I work a lot with my board of directors and calling them in meetings, telling them what I need, why I'm at, what issues I'm tackling, and where I am finding the right solution for it, but I don't think it is the best solution for it. And I would love to hear the best solution from them, right? So those kind of dynamic, you really need to be the person that bridge the gap between your board of directors and the staff, then allow you are the voice for your staff when it comes to the board of directors, and same for the board of directors, you are the voice when it's come to the staff, telling them what the board of directors need.
Sounds like there's a lot of complications to manage there, right? Sounds like it's not as easy as everyone thinks it is.
Yes.
So would you say that everyone's like-minded when they're working with you? Do you find yourself surrounded by like-minded people, or are there some challenges to navigate?
There are people, I think most people who join the organization is because of my passion. They always say like how much I love, like what I do. Now there are some of them who does not make the time and they are not communicating, right? Or they make the time but they are not communicating. Those kind of things is where my issue is at. I am very good at communicating. I love communicating. I love telling you where I'm at and what I'm doing, what I want from you. Now there are people that love working alone, right? There are people who are not team players, and that's okay. I don't like hearing people telling me team players or the ones who are not team players are not okay. They can deliver a project alone. Now, if you have a project that needs to be built by a team, now that is something you cannot add that person. It's taking the person where they are at to take them where they need to be, instead of just saying you're bad and we need you out, right? It's helping you are really, as a person, you're helping a person to have the mindset and create that culture that you need to have inside your organization, providing the space for people to grow, providing the place for people to learn. So that's really what I think an organization should be. And that's what I think diversity is so important, because we each learn differently from where we came from. And we each understand things different from where we came from. And if your space is for everyone, someone who comes with not a skill that you need, you should help them build to there. or allow them to have a mentor inside the organization, provide them a training. You yourself making the time to meet with them and help them think bigger or see further, right? So the mindset is like, don't think they have to have the same mindset as you, but helping them seeing how they can get better at, or they can be a better person or be a better professional, or like be better for the organization or their team members.
So when you're looking for potential team members, what qualities are you looking for? Maybe there's someone watching this who's thinking, do you know what? That's the kind of thing that I'd like to do. What qualities should that person have?
That the person is coachable. If the person is not coachable, it's going to be too difficult. And if you don't have the time to help someone who is this difficult to join, when they join, you're going to break them because you'll end up firing them. So in my opinion is when you are like recruiting, you ask questions to see if they are coachable. Then if you see that someone that can be coached by you, by someone inside the organization, why not? That's what an organization is for, to help someone grow, be better as a professional, learn to apply their skills, and be able, learn new things as they're applying them. So for me, it's really like being coachable, because that's what an organization is for. It's not only to be bringing profit, because the person is bringing skills for you, they have to be getting something themselves.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think growth and development, it's human nature, isn't it? And it's something that helps us to potentially reach places where we didn't think that we could possibly reach before.
I
think that's what you do, isn't it? You help people to grow and be the best that they can be. What do you believe are essential qualities or mindset that every entrepreneur such as yourself should possess to thrive in this kind of environment that we currently have?
I think it's communication. Because if you can communicate, I would say communication. Let me break communication before I say that. Because communication, everyone say it. Now it's easy, right? You communicate, and there are people you can communicate very softly with them. There are that kind of people that grew up, when you talk softly with them, information is not important. Now you need to know who you are talking to, that you can express yourself even better. Now you may not have to speak loud either and be rude, but you need to bring a sense of urgency. Hey, this is what's happening, and I need you to do this, because if we don't do this, it will get to that. And we don't want to get to that. If we get to that, we'll end up having way more, and we'll need to do da. Right? Communication, right? And then as you communicate with people, people will start understanding where you are going, what you need, how they can help you. And if they cannot help, how they can communicate with you. Because if you are open, you're allowing them to be themselves, be honest with you, tell you their truth. They will be able to tell you where they are at. And then if they cannot, you can pass it to someone else, or you take it yourself, or you support them to be able to develop that skills to do it. So it's really communication, in my opinion.
It's a really good message, and I think that's actually run through a lot of what you've said. Communication does seem to be one of your key hitters, doesn't it?
Yes.
So it's definitely something that I've learned, and actually you've demonstrated that very well in this interview, because your communication style is actually very effective. But if you could swap roles with any other co-founder or entrepreneur for a day, who would it be, and what would you hope to learn from that experience?
Jeff Bezos. I can't imagine being the richest man alive. The stress that comes with it, the misunderstanding that happens with that, right? And the amount of lesson that you have in life. I would love to take that place and see what that stress look like. And I say, like, when I'm stressed, I get in that thing where I'm like, okay, that's a problem. Let's find the problem. What problem that stressed me this morning? And I just tackle it. Would I be able to handle Jeff Bezos' problems? Because having such a big organization that in so many countries, I am in 2 countries with women for West Haiti and United States, it's a lot. Now let alone Bezos with so much, right? I would love to take that place and see that. I would probably just like come out transformed. And I would love to learn like how does he communicate and handle so many problems at once.
You've definitely got the energy for it, no doubt about that. So you mentioned you've got branches in Haiti and also the US. Are you thinking perhaps of maybe expanding somewhere else, or are you quite satisfied with where you are at the moment?
Expanding sounds perfect to me, and that's definitely is in the plan. because we are so young and we've done so much in 2 years, right? And so right now what we are trying to do before we can expand even further, build that foundation that if we want to even launch, and right, I'm putting an example out there, I've not talked about this in my board really, right? So we are building a plan for foundation. That's what we are trying to do right now. So from getting this foundation built, that we can just explode the way we want to explode. I'm just putting a number out of it now. That's why I'm saying we've not talked to the board. It's like how many countries. We know we want to be international, into going into Uganda, where my friend, from, going, Kenya and different countries. The co-founder of the organization is from Kenya. So probably we'll be going into Kenya. So that's yes. So we will expand. Now it's like we are building, right, to make sure that as we're expanding strong and we're impacting the right way and helping women getting into like markets, making sure that you get something out of this world and you add something out of this world. Because if you're not working, or if women are not working, 50% of this population, and that's 50% of potentials, that's a lot. 50% of potential. I can't imagine how the world could have been better with input of 50% more of people.
Wow, it's crazy when you put those figures out there, because I think the problem is when you see these figures, you just see them as figures, but actually there are lives and there are faces and there are histories behind every single one of those figures. So 50% is a massive amount of change that can be done in this world.
Yes.
And you're supplying, and unfortunately there is demand for this kind of thing, isn't there, at the moment? There's a high demand for it, so it could definitely work. So I'm excited to see where you will go, and thank you for that exclusive preview as well of what might be coming up in the future. We love it. So I know that we're coming to an end shortly because you are very busy, but just before we do finish, is there any advice that you would like to give to anyone who's listening to your story, who's moved by what you've had to say, and would like to also be an aspiring entrepreneur just like you?
I think I would tell them, don't be risk adverse. If you're risk adverse, you're missing experiences. You're making me sound like my mom, everyone. So when you're risk adverse, you're taking away experiences from you. For example, I went to Mexico with my husband. We went to Cancun. It was a beautiful cave, and I'm like, I'm not jumping into this. This is 10 feet. 10 feet tall, no. And I had a life jacket on and everything. Obviously, me, even I'm saying, at times I want to just like not take risk and everything. There are times where I'm like, well, okay, I want to do it because that's an experience I'm missing. My husband ended up, convincing me. I jump in there. It was so hot in Cancun that day. When I jump in that water, that's when I knew that experience, I really needed to have it. So it's for me, it's like, don't be risk averse. Go for it. Do your business. You have this idea that you to the core, there are work that's gonna be done. You need to put the work in. It's not gonna be that easy. If you're having a business, you're having a non-profit, anything, there needs to be work. There needs to be time investment. Money cannot be the focus when you're starting. If the money is the focus, it's gonna turn into a problem because you're not gonna be providing the service that you want. You will not provide it. So you need to focus on like, don't be risk averse, do your thing, focus on the plan, adjust your plan, and be very strategic when you're taking decisions to not go away from your mission and your vision. That's my advice to you all.
Perfect. So out there, everyone, don't be risk averse and be a good communicator. Those are the two key things you need to learn from this session. Senska, I want to thank you again so much for talking with me today. It really was a pleasure talking with you. You have been inspirational. Thank you so much. That was Senska Jean at Women Full Voice.